two amazing Echo experiences. I came originally as a camper in 1969, 1970, and 71. And I was in Friendship Lodge all 3 years. And I can remember watching Neil Armstrong step on the moon from the what do we call the building where the teepee is?
The Social Lodge.
Social Lodge, yeah, from the Social Lodge. So that was pretty amazing. And then, as my distinguished colleague Laura mentioned, we had the opportunity to work together during the first year of Pioneer Village. And so before this call is over, I would like to make a special request of Dan Turk to do a rendition of Little Rabbit Frou Frou.
If Rob shows up, well, I need Rob. Well, I guess I have Dan. But where's Rob?
Where's Rob? Let me send him a text. Let me see if we can find him.
I tried.
Turk, you're next, and then Terry Brenner.
Who's next?
You.
Okay, I'm Dan Turk. I went to camp as a camper in 1976. And then I don't think I've ever left Camp Echo. I don't like to think of ever leaving Camp Echo. A lot of the reasons why I stayed was because of the McKibben family. I'd say that. And then that continued with the Brenners and the Campbells. And all of you. I mean, just seeing John Mosser. I mean, these are the people why I continued to come back. So, and Jeff Peterson, look at that down there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's the best Zoom we've ever had. So I love it. I love that we're still together. And like I can see Laura McKibben. It's like we've never been apart.
Right.
And Katie was there in '76 too. Here we are. And that video, also that video, I highly recommend the video. Jeff's amazing work.
Cool.
That's it.
Terry Brenner, and then Bernard.
Hi, Haley. Welcome. And Laura, so fun to see you.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
John Mosser, Pioneer Village, 1984. So,
Hey, you know that friendship bracelet that you made for me? I wore that till it absolutely disintegrated.
hey, send me your address. Justin Bressler.
Oh my God, look at all these people. Holy crap.
In the summer of 1983, I was babysitting my summer away, and my sister had found a job through the Times Indicator. No, social media, at this place called Camp Echo. She's having a great time, I can tell. She's not coming home much on layovers. And then, as happens in summers, there were a few things. Mary Nazer blew out her knee on staff ski. Somebody had an unfortunate, their finger got in a horse's mouth, as I recall.
The Wrangler got her digit bitten off by a horse.
That sounds like a, yeah.
Yes. And there was some other reason that I sat on a picnic table for 15 minutes with Fred Brown in front of Lakeside.
Downtown Freddie Brown.
Yep, exactly. Hired on the spot for $60 a week. And
Yes.
Given, I remember Laura. I remember Rob was one of the first people I laid eyes on, and he had a wound that was a horribly dirty bandage around it. On his
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, ooh, that just doesn't seem healthy. And it turns out he'd gotten it from hitchhiking with Dan Turk on a night out.
It was from a moped. Yeah. He got it from a moped earlier, but we did walk.
Right. He was at hockey camp on a
moped. He got Standard's moped right before he was supposed to go to hockey.
It was, yeah.
Right.
Your dad made him go anyway.
Yes.
It jeopardized his chances of going pro, supposedly. I don't know.
He just sat in a bed for a week.
Yeah.
All right, Bernard, and then Haley.
Hey, y'all. Bernard here. In 1984, I was born, and I've spent a majority of the years since a portion of a majority of the year since here at Camp Echo, and I'm grateful to be here today on what is a windier than expected afternoon at Pioneer Village. Good to see y'all.
Awesome.
Haley, go ahead.
Hey folks, I'm Haley. I first came to camp in 2009 as a small 8-year-old camper. And then I've been on staff for the past several summers.
Excellent. Jeff Peterson and then Justin Bressler.
Hey, I didn't hear the question. Are we saying like?
Oh, it's just give us a little synopsis of your Camp Echo experience.
Okay, I don't know. Jeff C. When did we start?
1984. Ann Hale, you and I met Brown at a job fair in IU Bloomington. I'd already graduated from college. We had done 14 years at Camp Eberhard, and we were looking for something new. And so we decided to go to the job fair, and that was it.
Jeff Campbell, I didn't even recognize you. How you doing, dude? I haven't seen you in ages.
Well, I'm here. So you got to see this. I made a video in 1985, and I uploaded it to YouTube. So if you type in Camp Echo 1985, you can see it. It's an hour and 5 minutes. And we had Terry and I in Future Mountain, Future Mountain, and the party ball.
that's great.
I remember a day off where we went to Camp Eberhard with you and Ann, and you guys showed us all the Eberhard things, including the snake pit.
That's right. That's gone now. So yes, absolutely. So and then Dan actually went to work on staff there afterwards.
Wow.
Loved it. That broken window that was still broken that Jeff Peterson told me about.
That I always talk about.
Sailing, they had an amazing sailing program there too.
Yes. So, but yeah, the Peterson, Ann Hale, and I went 1984, and then we went. Peterson and I went back in '85, and then I think Jeff went farther than I did.
Yep, been hanging out for a while now, working with Rob J. and Dan and just everybody, and having a great time, and doing that stuff that we did last year at the family camp and all that. That was super fun. So anyway, it's been great.
Justin and then Kaylee.
Hi, everybody. Wow. I haven't seen so many of these people in like
Hi,
forever.
Justin.
And I'm friends with like Laura on Facebook. That's it, maybe. Katie, maybe.
And Justin was John's and my camper in Pioneer Village. Just have to put that out there.
And then I was at PV too.
You were a counselor?
Yeah, we were the first year at PV with you. So I was never a main camper. I started in '82, just before my freshman year at ETHS.
Were you in the lead program with me also?
Yep,
You were with me 2 summers, right?
Me and Chummy and Philippe and Karen Ahern and maybe Julie Fisher. And so I did a couple years as lead. And then I think '84 was my first summer on proper staff. And then was sort of in and out of camp. Like I did part of every summer between then and like '91. And that was my last summer. I actually met my wife at Echo. She got hired on for the tripping program. She worked for John. She did, I think, the Georgian Bay sea kayak trip.
Wow.
Right, hot talk there. And so we met there, and then we moved out to Colorado after that. So, but Jeff, I watched that video. It was amazing. I watched like 75%, trying to scan through it. I thought it was a Grierson joint, but apparently not. It took me a little bit. It had all of the Grierson markings on it with that WEKO. I thought it was like a video captivity project or something.
No, Dan Turk and I did movie making camp that year. And so that's where we did all the logos for WE. And then I had to darken your video too. So to make it politically correct.
We were horses.
When was the last time you
not that one. The Jamaican ones on the pool one.
Got it. Thank you.
Justin, when were you at camp last?
I was not. We did one session of family camp when our kids were younger. I want to say maybe mid-2000s. That was probably the last time I was on property.
You're overdue.
I'm very much overdue. We just never like shipped the kids off to the Midwest for summer camp, so they hate me for it.
Kaylee Dillon is next, and then Charlie Schaefer.
Hi, I'm Kaylee. I was a longtime camper and then did a couple of summers as a staff member at Echo. Yeah.
Cool. Charlie, and then Drew, and then Sid.
Hey everybody, I am Charlie. I'm currently the Adventure Trips coordinator at Echo, and I've been with Echo as a camper and seasonal staff member to full-time staff member for close to 20 years or something now of just going through it. So here we are.
That's awesome. Drew, go ahead.
Hey everybody, my first summer at Echo was 2005, and I've been to Echo every summer since except for one summer, and I'm now the most recent addition to the full-time team. So I'm very proud and excited to be working for camp every day.
Cool. Nice. Sid, and then Sarah Court, and then Marie Roach.
Hey, I'm Sid. I'm currently the site and activities coordinator for Echo. This will just be my second year. I almost said summer, but I guess I'll be at Echo this summer, but the program will be different. But I'm excited to be part of this team. Echo's so cool, so much good history and tradition and all the relationships. It's just fun even watching all of you interact. So happy to be here.
Sarah Court, Marie Roach, and then Anna Vogel.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah. I am in awe of Dan Turk's recruiting capabilities. He is the world's greatest, and we are all your biggest fans. This is amazing.
Years for this to happen.
So great. I'm the summer camps director at Echo. This will be my 6th summer, and it's so nice to meet all of you.
Marie Roach, and then Anna Vogel.
Okay, so if you've got some background noise, it's 294 behind me. I'm kind of lost wandering around Hinsdale because I don't live here, but I'm on a 10-mile walk and I can't look at my maps because I'm looking at Zoom. But 69 was my first summer, and the first night of camp, I slept walk off a top bunk bed and broke my arm and I chipped my 2 front teeth.
Oh,
and
no.
then let's see, my counselor, I was in Potter, and my counselor went to tell the nurse, and the nurse sent her back with 2 aspirin. And what I remember about that night was, this was without electricity in the cabins, getting back in my bed like, oh my God, my teeth are missing. And all of us with our flashlights, we're 10 years old, looking on the floor for my teeth. And then the next day I went into town with Roger Marshall on the town run in this truck and a sheep that he was taking to get sheared. And they managed to fit in me going to get my cast on my arm and some temporary caps, and came back to camp. And Carolyn Morby says, well, we got to call your mom. And nobody ever called parents. And getting on the phone with my parents and immediately crying and saying, don't make me come home. Don't make me come home. So that lasted until about 83. Everything with waterfront director, outpost, boating and canoeing, program director, a lot of fun. And it's a great place. And I've taken a little bit of Echo with me because on this walk, I went through this forest preserve, and of course all the bathrooms are locked. So I had to find a place in the woods. Here I am, a 62-year-old woman sneaking into the woods, hoping that nobody sees me. So there you go. It's in my blood.
That is awesome. Anna Vogel, and then Bart Rock.
Hi, my name is Anna Vogel. I'm also on the Camp Echo full-time team. I'm a program coordinator. I've been at Echo since 2012. And Sarah totally stole my line because I was going to say that I'm Dan Turk's biggest fan. But then Sarah said that. So I don't know, just happy to see everyone's faces and get a little Echo spirit here today.
Bart, you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your Echo experience?
Yeah, I'm Bart Rock. I'm just checking on my son Bernard, just to make sure he's doing everything by the straight and narrow. It's been a couple years since I've been to Camp Echo. I never went as a kid because I grew up in California, but went to a number of camps in California and loved the great outdoors, and introduced Bernard to how great it is to be outside. Been to work weekend a couple of times, and went to family camp a couple of times, and had a wonderful time. And there's nothing better. And that's about all I've got to say. Thanks.
Awesome. Did we miss anybody in the introductions? I don't think so. I think we got to everybody. Bernard?
Well, okay, I think we're out of time. It's been lovely to see you. No, I think, so I'm out here at Pioneer Village, and man, it's, to everyone's points already, I think we have all the experts here to tell the history of Pioneer Village better than any. And so, Katie, I'm going to ask you a few kind of questions, but then I'm just going to let you, if you feel like you can punt it to someone else and spread the sharing around, maybe put someone, for each question, kind of put someone else on the spot to share some history. But I guess first and foremost, I'd love to hear, why is this place called Pioneer Village at Camp Echo?
I think I could answer that, John. It was actually Fred Brown's brainchild, and the original idea behind Pioneer Village, I think Fred Brown had seen it done at another camp, and the original idea behind it that first summer was that John and I were in Justin, you can hop on in this in your memory banks, but we were to build a log cabin together with our campers.
Hey, oh my God, it's sat there for years.
Right, and we were also to care for
we shaved logs.
Animals.
That's all we did. That's all we did all summers. We shaved logs and we took care of animals.
Yeah.
And mind you, we started our first session with no water out there. So the first session, it ended up being like in the mid 90s, the entire session. So we spent like most of our time just back and forth with John driving the tractor and the flatbread, hauling water back and forth.
I feel like we had the lean-to and we had the beach. But there was no outpost.
We had the outpost beach, right?
Outpost was decommissioned for some reason. So I don't know why Outpost, I don't know if they were rebuilding the platforms or something like that.
No, it was that the land was overrun, and RJ, Rob Johnson, right? They just decided to let it rest for a while. And then so everything was pushed out to PV. And then also they had to build our the raccoons kept getting into our food every night. So they had to build like a real structure around that old silo for us to keep our food from being robbed every night.
Yeah, and there was only one Hogan, I think, to start. There was the Hunter Hogan, and then there was the counselor teepee.
If you pin the video that Bernard has right now, which is, if you go to the upper right-hand corner of his video, you'll see the full screen of his, and he is showing you the remnants of the log cabin.
Yeah, so the picnic table, I think, didn't we build that, John, our summer?
Yep.
Yes.
Were you part of that?
Yes.
And then, so the idea was actually that with the one Hogan and the two teepees, that you guys were going to switch off. Like the girls were going to be in the teepees one week, and but the teepees leaked water. So it ended up being the changing room. It's like the boys and girls changing room. And then everybody slept in the Hogan.
I know that you are correct about that. When the name Pioneer Village came, because when I was a kid, this location was called the Old Horse Barn.
Right.
And it was still an overnight area. You'd go out and cook dinner out there and sleep on the ground, but there were no structures except for the Old Horse Barn, which the upper part of that structure is actually the stables in camp. But I can remember stargazing from the roof of here's the wall what do you call that? The foundation of the old barn is right there.
Right.
Hey, Katie. Hey, Katie,
Yeah,
is that what you called it? Stargazing when you went up on the roof at night?
It depended on who I was with.
Right,
Hey,
and
so-
there's the old silo with the roof still intact from and it was like Betsy Donahue and of course Rob and oh, I can't remember who else was on crew with them, but yeah.
Yeah, they closed that silo so you could keep your food.
Yes.
So, Katie, a lot of the activities that we came up in the early Pioneer Village program were things that I brought from our senior seminar experiences with
Really?
Eddie Soloway.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
we did solos, we did deer walks at night. And where that foundation is, we had pens where we had goats. We had 2 goats. We had some chickens, and I don't remember what the other animals were, but we got the goats from a nearby farmer, and about the second day we had them there, they escaped. And all of us, the campers and the counselors, hunted for the goats, but we never found them again.
But we saw their trail, but they ended up off into a cornfield, and that's that was it.
So the farmer never got them back.
No,
Well,
we're
he
pretty,
might have.
we're pretty sure that a farmer found them, right, and kept them. I mean, and then we also incorporated a lot of outpost activities. So obviously we always did our canoe trips, and then like flashlight tag at night, and I don't know, Justin, you can jump in. I do remember driving Justin to Grand Rapids so he could fly home for his
David Bowie concert.
David Bowie concert.
Yes, that was the reason for a whole like 10 years worth of policy. Can't leave camp in the middle of the session, but I had good seats. And that's the only time I ever saw him in concert. So thank you.
But I just remember we had a great bonding trip together.
Yeah, we used to canoe every like day or two for perishables.
Yep.
And kept the non-perishables in the silo. And we took turns. We made a menu. We took turns cooking. The kids took turns cooking.
Right. And then we did have a final campfire tradition. John, I'll let you jump in on that one.
I dedicate this log to Laura McKibben.
That's not it. It's what we were able to talk Freddie Brown into letting us purchase for those last nights.
Oh, well, we always had sort of end of the session banquet. Fred would let us plan our own menus. And so we would always order a lot of grapes, and we would get steak and wonderful things. And everybody said, where's all that food going?
No, but I would remember the barbecue ribs, and it'd be like practically midnight because we'd go help or watch the triangle be lit, and then we'd come back and just were smeared and smothered in barbecue sauce from I don't know. Justin, do you remember that at all?
Well, I didn't until you said it, and now I do. I can remember like grilled ribs, basically.
Right. And Justin, were you on a trip where we were on our canoe trip, and there was like literally a mini tornado that came to TV?
I remember.
Were you with it? Yeah. So
and we came back to it. I remember. I think we came back to. I don't remember what the damage was though.
Here, so I've got
nothing.
a quick recap of that. So we took the campers out. I think it was like on the Little Manistee, and we portaged the canoes and set up tents, and it absolutely poured rain.
I remember one of the tents, the whole side was ripped.
Yeah, all the sleeping bags got soaked. Everybody's clothes got soaked. The food got wrecked. So we hiked to a phone and called Fred, and they sent the bus to come and pick us up. The kids were crying. It was miserable. Everybody was cold and wet. And when we got back to camp, Fred said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're safe. We're glad that you're back." And he said, "I have one thing I need to tell you." And he said, "You know that horrible rainstorm that you survived last night? Well, that happened at camp here too. and all of your stuff in Pioneer Village